Hi everyone, welcome to the Intellicus live demo on AI ML powered churn analytics for insurers, boost customer retention and LTV. We have with us Mr. Piyush Tiwari, our head of sales, who will be taking us through the corporate presentation. We also have with us Mr. Sagar Koti, our solutions engineer, and Mr. Pranjal Bhatt, our data scientist. They both will be taking us through the demo. We'll take all your questions at the end of the session. You can either write them in the chat or the Q&A window. Our team will connect with you over the mail in case you are not able to squeeze them in the session. Over to you, Piyush.
Thank you, Richa. First of all, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining this live demonstration session. And we will be presenting our corporate presentation, product capabilities, and then live demonstration of the use case. So Intellicus has now 20 years of experience in data analytics domain. We are serving majority of the global customers, 18,000 plus deployments so far. Some of the prime customers you can see here, like Tata AIG, Barclays, Wells Fargo, and many others from different domain as well. So Intellicus platform. So it's a complete data engineering and analytics platform which can solve each and every problem of your analytics reporting. So extracting data from multiple sources, preparing it, massaging it, and prepare it for reporting. So we have the ETL, which can extract data from internal and external sources, can create a semantic layer. When the semantic layer has been created, then we can create a self-serve dashboarding reporting, alert notifications, and whatever we require for taking daily actions. We can create many machine learning models, what if analysis basis our requirement, and we can create a conversational analytics as well, where we can speak with our data to get all the answers what we are looking for on the real-time basis. It's a completely secure platform. So enterprise grade 5-star security certification we've got from 45. Now we'll talk about the use case. So use case is like, creating churn analysis out of our existing customers. So what basically we require, specify that, the specific nuances to consider for creating the churn analysis, that the main majority is that the renewals and the demographic data we require, the claim behavior from our existing customers, the fraud analysis, within that. So how we are supposed to plan our churn to retain our customer. So there are multiple models we can create from these data sources and consideration. These are the parameters we can create. We can utilize internal data, external data, our competition data, and then we can create a very proven churn analysis using our platform. We provide unified platform. We provide professional services that covers consultancy and implementation services. We provide support and maintenance. These are some of the recognition we have got. We've been selected as or awarded as Innovation of the Year last year. Now I would request Pranjal and Sagar to demonstrate the capability of our product along with the use case what we are delivering today. Over to you, Pranjal.
Thank you, Piyush. I'm sharing my screen. Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. So in this webinar, we'll be diving into churn analysis within the vehicle insurance industry. Our focus will be on understanding why customers leave and how can we predict churn, and what steps we can take to enhance the customer retention. Let's first explore the data that we are going to use for this demo. So I'll move to the data. This data set includes various features related to insurance policies, vehicle characteristics, client profiles that we can leverage for churn analysis. Let's first see what all policy detail parameters of the columns that we have. So we have policy ID, we have policy begin month, end month, then whether the policy is renewed or not renewed, This column will be our target column also for predicting the churn. So 1 here represent that the policy is renewed and 0 here represent the churn. And then we also have policy sales channel, policy branch. All these policy specific columns are present. Then we have some client information like insurer gender, client registration region and all that. And then we have vehicle characteristics, like we have vehicle model, company of the vehicle, engine power of the vehicle, and then the sum insured. And then some columns related to policy claims and the history of the claims, like total number of claims, how many major claims are there, and whether the policy has the complaint in the past. The policy, and remember our target column here is whether the policy. Okay, so now that we have an overview of the data and understand the key features that may influence our target variable, we can now dive deeper into the data set through the first report that we have, which is the data exploration and insights, also EDA report. Now, Intellicus as a product has powerful automated EDA features to provide insights of our data. This Intellicus EDA report will help us quickly detect hidden patterns, identify outliers, and explore the relationship between variables that may influence our target variable, which is here policy renewal. Now let's dive into the EDA report with Intellicus and see what insights we can extract from this data. So as you can see, the first two fields here are data fields and data type. Data fields is simply the name of the column that we have, and data type is the data type of the column. As you can see, the data field column is a hyperlink column, meaning we can click on this particular hyperlink here and it will redirect us to another report. So this particular report is the distribution analysis report. And this gives us an idea of the distribution of the data set of the columns that we have selected. Let me open the EDA report again. Okay. So the next two columns are not null percentage and cardinality. So not null percentage is basically it gives an idea of how much not null percentage of data which is available, and cardinality gives us how much cardinality is there in or how much distinct values are there in a column. Then we have multicollinearity and outliers. So multicollinearity is basically it gives an idea of correlation between various columns. For example, we can click on the details tab here. If we click on the details tab, it will again open a new report, which will give us an idea of correlation between the selected column and all other columns. For example, we have selected here vehicle sum insured column. So this gives a correlation of, so we can see that it is highly correlated to vehicle engine power here. So that's what we can infer from this. And a green bar here represents a positive correlation and a red bar here represents a negative correlation. Then we have outliers. Outliers are basically to analyze the outliers. If there are any outliers present in your data, that can be analyzed from here also. Again, we can click on this particular report, this particular tab to open a hyperlink report. This will again give us a box plot analysis of the outliers. Suppose that we have some summary statistics. So we have mean, standard deviation, then we have some quantile values like 25th quantile, 50th quantile. So these columns are there to give us an idea of all the distribution of the data which is there, right? So now that we have looked at the EDA of the data, we have explored the data. The next part is to do the pre-processing of the data. So in EDA report, what we have done is we have analyzed the outlier, we have analyzed the cardinality, null values, and everything in the data set. As a next report, what we'll be doing is before feeding the data to the machine learning model, we will be doing some pre-processing. Now, this data pre-processing, this involves handling of the missing data, encoding categorical variables, and then scaling of the data, and also addressing the outliers if there are any. So this is the EDA report and Intellicus pre-processing report, and Intellicus pre-processing report gives an idea of all the pre-processing steps that we are doing before giving the data to the machine learning model in one single page. We can see that we have column name and data type here, and then drop feature and outlier treatment method. So drop feature is basically if you have dropped the feature and you don't want to use that feature for the machine learning, this can be configured over here. Similarly, we can configure outlier treatment methods. So there are various methods that we can use. We can either drop it, we can replace it with some value. So all these methods can be used, and they also can be configured if a column has some outlier. Then we have imputation methods, which basically replaces the null value with the selected. For example, you want to replace it with mean or median or mode. So all that can be done. And if you want to replace it with constant value, we can mention that value here. Then we have encoding method and scaling method. Encoding is mainly used when you have non-numeric data in your data set. You would want to change that non-numeric value to a numeric value. That's when we do encoding, and we have various methods for encoding, like ordinal encoder, one-hot encoding. All the methods can be used. Similarly, if we want to scale the data to one single scale, we can use various scaling methods like normalization, standard scaler, all that. Post that, we have importance value. Now, this is again the most important column for this report. This gives an idea of how important a column is in order to predict the target variable, which is churn here. So if you want to predict the churn, which column will be most important for the prediction? So here we can see that policy price change is most important column for the prediction. This is also important in selecting the variables. If you want to do a feature selection and you don't want to select all the features, you would want to select top 5 or top 10 most important features. This will again be beneficial for you. So we can select 5 or 10 features from here, top 5 or top 10 features for the forecasting part. Okay, so this is the data pre-processing report that we have seen. Post that, the next step is to do the forecasting. So we have pre-processed the data, and now our data is ready to be fetched to or to be given to the model. So that's when the forecasting report comes. So as you can see, there are 3 parameters in the forecasting report. We have select algorithm, select CV method, and use saved model. So the first parameter, which is select algorithm, if we click on the drop down, there are many algorithms that are there. And since we know that not one algorithm will fit for your business scenario, so Intellicus provides the flexibility to do the experimentation across various models. So a user has a flexibility to select multiple models out of this, or select all the models out of this. And what it will do is at the backend, it's going to run over all the models, analyze all the models, and provide a comparison matrix so that user can decide which model or which model suits their business requirement the best. We can right now we have selected all the models. Then the next parameter is cross validation, which is grid search CV and randomized search CV. CV is basically, this is there to tune your model. So all these models will be tuned and they will be fit. The best parameters out of these models will be selected. Then the next is use saved models. So so if you have already saved the model in the past and you don't want to run through the training cycle once again, that's when we use saved models. So this can be true or false. If it is set to false, all the models are going to retrain on your data and it will then going to show your output. If it is true, a previously saved models will be used. Right now I'll set this to true and I'll click on apply. So as soon as I click on apply, it's going to run all the models at the backend, create a comparison matrix, and along with some all the accuracy metrics, and then it's going to show us the output. As we can see, we have model name as a first column here. We has all the list of the models, and then we have validation data. So validation data is basically a sample data taken from the training set itself to validate the accuracy of your model. So all the accuracy metrics are also given here, and these accuracy metrics are validated on the this validation data. So if you click on this view raw data, we can also view this raw data, validation data, download this in the form of an Excel, and then export this and analyze it in the Excel also. Post that, we have some accuracy metrics. For example, we have recall value, accuracy value, precision, F1 score. Since this is a churn analysis use case, and this is a classification use case, so all the classification specific accuracy metrics are mentioned. For a regression use case, the regression specific matrix will be shown. But since for some business, so all these 4 metrics are given because different metrics are used for different business scenarios, and a user can decide which matrix they want to go ahead with. If you look at this, for example, random forest here gives us a 93% accuracy recall value, not the accuracy. So the accuracy value is highest for cat boost, but the recall value is highest for random forest. So a user can decide which they want to go ahead, whether they want to give a preference to recall value or accuracy value, they can decide that. All right, and then save the model. So there is a save model option also available. So initially we have seen that we have an option to save the model. That is what we will do here. So we can save the model and use it for next iteration whenever we are rerunning it. So that a user don't have to retrain, waste time in retraining the model. They can basically use the saved model on. Suppose that we have what if analysis. Now, what if analysis is the most important thing for making a business decision. So there are various parameters which can be tuned or which can be increased or decreased to see. For example, we have a churn use case right now. So there are various parameters in churn that can be increased, decreased, and see their impact on the overall churn. And then that way, this business decision can be taken on how to reduce the churn. So I'll now request Sagar to present the what if analysis use case. Over to you, Sagar. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranjal. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on reducing custom churn and boost lifetime value. Thank you for joining. Now we will go through each and every layer of the segment that is contributing to the churn and what are the major reasons as a part of descriptive analysis. And once that is done, we will speak about how various parameters can be done as a what if analysis in the terms of predictive layer to understand which is contributing to the churn and how a retention strategy can reduce it. So if you see this dashboard at the top, we have key performance indicators. Now this is a multi-dimensional dashboard which is highly performant, can consume any volume of information and render the information back to the screen in quickest possible manner. Now, at the top, we have key performance indicators. We have customer count, state, retention rate, churn rate, and revenue lost. If we notice this churn rate over a period of time for the entire December 2023, somewhere in the August month, it started spiking in until it went to the November and then it just dipped. And also the financial years, which is March and April. Now we will see what could be the major reasons. One, if we think aloud, it could be premium hike or sense of dissatisfaction in terms of getting the claim settlements or customer grievance that had delayed grievance addressals. So it could be many such reasons. Now we will deep dive into each of these segments. For example, the first segment, for this I will consider a specific state and I'll say, I want to take Maharashtra. And the moment I take Maharashtra, you could see the entire dashboard is now reflecting the information for this selection. Means each of these views are interrelated and correlated and interlinked. Now, if I want to investigate further, there is a churn by customer tenure. As you can see here, there's a breakdown of how churn tends to manifest at different stage of customer tenure. So I'll just select early tenure, 0 to 3 years. 0 to 3 years are basically new or early tenure customers where we can see the highest churn percentage in the bucket. This could be due to unmet expectations of better competitive pricing as the renewal period is nearing in. And also the onboard experience and nowadays the digital experience also takes a major role here. Now I want to do a combination of age group too, because as in the visual, I can see a lot of subscribers or customers who are falling into 30 to 45 age bucket. I can just select them as the visual says that has a highest churn percentage. Now the combination of this says that there is average 30.82 churn percentage due to various churn reasons. So while we do this, if we see early tenure, they are basically new customers or the early tenure. And if you go for mid tenure, you can observe the churn rate. I'll just select mid tenure. It decreased by -4% because as we move on from 0 to 3 to 3 to 7, the churn rate stabilized because as customers build trust and loyalty, but may spike due to dissatisfaction or poor customer services. That could be the reason for the mid tenure. However, we cannot ignore the long tenure because of the same reasons. Now, this will help. Combination of customer tenure and age group will help you to devise retention strategy for each bucket at a particular stage. Now we will do a combination of churn by policy type because on the header part, you can see the comprehensive coverage, collision coverage, and liability insurance. But there are many sub-insurances, sub-part where we have to concentrate. Now, if I say comprehensive coverage, this could be a premium pricing coverages, right? So when we do this, what happens in the premium pricing is the bar is set high and the expectations are high. So if benefits are not falling in line with the premium pricing and the coverage that they have subscribed for or opted for, obviously the churn increases again. And you can see this steep hike in the month of September 23, right? Now, we will go further down and say, we will just clear off all these filters or the selections that we made. We are trying to understand at multiple levels or multiple segments how the churn is behaving in. Now, if you see, there are multiple policy channels as well, because is there a channel and the churn in that particular channel correlate with specific customer demographics? That we can see. We will also remove the Maharashtra selection. We'll take it for all the demographics, saying that if you say online sales, it is having the highest churn percentage. Now, as I combine it with various states like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, all faring in above 45%. Now, if you want to design a strategy for each of these channels, what you can do is train for the agents or call center staff, or enhancing our online or digital experience in terms of optimizing the mobile app. Feedback mechanism, if there are any feedbacks coming in from customers, take a sentimental analysis via social media streams. You can improvise that. Now, finally, we are talking about churn and revenue lost over a period of time. What is the trend? As I can see, August, and then there is a slight increase and total spike over there. Now, what are the reasons that we are taught for? Like major reasons for the churn: price sensitivity. So I can further go down and drill down to see which are those particular sub reasons: premium increases, competitive pricing, perceived lack of value. Likewise, there are multiple other reasons where I can go and drill down. But with this descriptive analysis, how I can anticipate my future for next quarter or next year? In that case, you can see on the left-hand panel, we have some predicted variables where we will optimize doing a what if analysis. Say policy price change. What will happen if I increase the policy price by 5%? You can observe the change rate, which is increased by 4%. Now, what if I reduce the value when I give the insurance value, like deduct value? What will that further do? It will again increase by 4%, which is 42.9%. Right? So these are the important variables. These are generic in nature, like it can vary from organization to organization, company to company, insurer to insurer. But these are something that we observe in day-to-day life. And now if there is something that can reduce, yes, vehicle sum insured, if we are nearing to the renewal period, if I increase it plus 5%, that can give a sense of satisfaction to the customers and reduce the churn rate. And there are many other variables which can do the magic of reducing the churn percentage, thereby increasing the revenue for any time period that you wish to see for. So this is how we can help as an Intellicus. Comprehensively, we can help both the descriptive and predictive to help with your decision making in terms of customer churns. Thank you so much for patient attention. Over to you, Piyush. Thank you.
Thanks, Sagar. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining in, everyone.